So, let's talk about medical cannabis. It's a subject that's, it's pretty complex, and there's a lot of noise out there. But underneath all that is some absolutely incredible science. In this explainer, we're going to cut right through the confusion and give you a clear guide to how this stuff actually works. Let's dive in.
But before we get to the plant, I want to start with a question for you. What if your body, right now, has a system that's been waiting for cannabis? I know, it sounds a little out there, but get this. Understanding this one fact is the key to unlocking this entire topic.
Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll explore that amazing system inside your own body. Then, we'll get into the plant's chemical toolkit. After that, we'll look at how it's being used in medicine. And finally, we'll cover the really practical stuff about the patient journey.
All right, so first up, we are not starting with the plant. We're actually starting with you. We're going to go right inside our own bodies to look at the surprising biology that makes any of this even possible.
Okay, say hello to the endocannabinoidsystem, or the ECS for short. It's a biological network discovered back in the 90s, and its whole job is to act like a master regulator, keeping your body in balance. And here's the most important part. This system is in you, and it's working right now, whether you've ever been near cannabis or not. It's already there.
So what's it regulating? Well, pretty much all the big stuff. We're talking about your mood, how you experience pain, your sleep, your appetite, even your immune system. You can think of the ECS as the conductor of a huge orchestra, making sure every part of your body is playing in tune and on time.
And it does this using these little docking stations called receptors. You've got CB1 receptors, which are mostly in your brain and central nervous system. That's where things like mood and memory get influenced. And then you have CB2 receptors, which are found more throughout your body and your immune cells, helping to manage things like pain and inflammation.
So why does all this biology matter? Because this is the big aha moment. It means that cannabis isn't some foreign substance hijacking your body. It's basically just speaking a language your body already understands. It's tapping into a native system that's been there all along.
Okay, so now that we know about the lock, let's talk about the key. We're shifting focus from our bodies to the plant itself, and we're about to open up its surprisingly packed chemical toolkit. Of course, you know the two headliners, the rock stars of the show. You've got THC, that's the one that causes the psychoactive high, but it's also a powerhouse for things like pain relief. And then you have CBD, its non-psychoactive partner. It's a champion for reducing inflammation and anxiety, and it can actually help tame some of THC's intensity. But here's the thing, it's not just a duo. There is a whole supporting cast of other compounds called minor cannabinoids. I mean, we're talking over 100 of them. You've got stuff like CBG, which might protect our nerves, or THCV, which, get this, might actually help suppress your appetite. Each one brings something new to the table.
And that brings us to this absolutely crucial idea, the entourage effect. The theory is basically that all these different compounds work better together. It really is like an orchestra. A solo violin is beautiful, sure, but you feel the real power when the entire symphony kicks in. The whole is so much greater than the sum of its parts.
As the researchers who figured this out said, that synergy, that teamwork, that is the key. And it's the very reason why so many people find that full-spectrum products, the ones that use the whole plant, just seem to work better than taking THC or CBD all by itself.
Okay, so we've got a system in the body and a toolkit in the plant. The theory is great, but how does this actually play out in the real world? Let's look at medical cannabis in action, from the plant to the patient.
Well, the science is building every single day, and for some major conditions, the evidence is now considered really strong. We're talking about things like chronic pain and some very severe types of epilepsy. For other conditions like MS, the evidence is called moderate, but it's incredibly promising.
Let's just zoom in for a second on chronic pain, because it's one of the biggest reasons people turn to medical cannabis. And the research is showing potential benefits for a whole range of tough-to-treat pain, from nerve pain and fibromyalgia to the inflammation you get with arthritis.
Now this leads to a point that you just can't overstate. Right in the middle of a devastating opioid crisis, we're seeing that medical cannabis might offer a different path. The fact that studies show patients are able to reduce, or in some cases even get off of opioids, well, that has absolutely massive implications for public health.
All right, for this last section, let's get super practical. Let's say someone becomes a patient. How in the world do you navigate this new territory safely and, just as importantly, effectively?
First things first, how you take it changes everything. It's not one size fits all. If you need relief right now, inhalation is fast, but it doesn't last as long. Oils and edibles, on the other hand, take a while to kick in, but they can provide relief for hours and hours, which is a game changer for chronic issues. And then you've got topicals for targeted relief without any high at all.
Now, if there is one single thing you remember from this whole explainer, please let it be this. It is the golden rule. Start low and go slow. This is not a race. The whole point is to find the smallest dose that gives you the relief you need, and the only way to do that is to start tiny and increase gradually over days or even weeks.
So what does start low, go slow actually look like? Well, it's a process. You start with a really low dose. You wait, and you have to be patient, especially with edibles, to feel the full effect. Then you can gradually, slowly increase over time. It's also a great idea to track your symptoms in a journal. And the most important step, you do all of this working with a doctor or healthcare professional. Don't go it alone.
And let's be real. Just like any effective medicine, there can be side effects. You might experience things like dizziness or a dry mouth. Some people, especially with too much THC, can feel anxious or paranoid. And it's absolutely crucial to talk to your doctor about how it might interact with any other medications you're on.
So, the bottom line is this. Medical cannabis is pretty much the definition of personalized medicine. There's no magic product, no universal dose that works for everyone. It's a journey, one that takes a little bit of knowledge, a whole lot of patience, and a really strong partnership with a healthcare pro.
And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. We're moving into an era of medicine that's less about one-size-fits-all pills and more about personalized care. So what kind of future role will these complex plant therapies, these therapies that use hundreds of compounds, all working in perfect synergy play? It really feels like we are just scratching the surface.